Hello, boys. We're back for 2026 betting. It's been like crazy. Like the last month or so, just I'm sure you've all been as antsy as I am. Like just watching the pracky matches, keeping up to date, getting the super coach shit organized. But we're finally here. We're good to go. We had the post for last night. I'll touch on that later, but it is good to be back. Thank you all to those who have subscribed and keeping up to date and messaging in the Discord. I really, really appreciate the interaction and just seeing like the community popping. It's great to see. So we've had our little hiatus over the last 6 months. Because I don't bet on anything else other than footy. I mean, I might dabble in like a little bit of basketball, but I don't know. Maybe I think I probably had 10 bets over the whole in between September and now on the basketball season. It doesn't hit the same. Nothing hits the same as betting on footy. I fucking love it. I am just the absolute fiend for betting on footy and watching it, Supercoach, all that shit, my bread and butter. So we had a great year last year, almost made 5 grand, which was great. This is purely the profit and loss just from the bets in this video alone. So that's the bonus bet tips, which I always emphasize, and the profit just from the bets itself. And that's $50 on every game. So I do the exact same bets that I post in the video. I might bet a little bit harder after losses. So my profit and loss personally is a bit higher than that, but it's the exact same bet. So I'll either just, instead of betting like $50 here, I might bet like 100 or 200 or just to really get the ball rolling. So, but I think that is absolutely insane to have around 5 grand profit and just from the bets that I've got here on the video. I get them already, well, most of them already on Friday. I do the Thursday night games like Wednesday night, but yeah, spend the morning getting them done, organizing it. You don't have to do anything tricky. You don't have to go any crazy legs or crazy multis. It's just the strategy, and it's a great time to emphasize that at the start of the video. I'll actually just bring this up where these are the bets that you have to win. So for a regular 9-game week, I know opening round's a bit different, but typically all the rounds have 9 games. And you can see here, if you bet $1.33 odds, you need to win 7 games per week to break even. If you bet $10 over here, if you do $10 odds, you only need to win 1 game to break even. So I really like this sweet spot here of $3. We only have to win 3 games to break even. So I think that's fantastic. And you'll see, for those of you who've been subscribed and watching and following for a long time, I started off a bit higher at about $5, and then it just crept back in. And then you have swings and roundabouts. You'll have really good weeks, you'll have really shit weeks, but it's like a roller coaster that just kind of keeps going up a little bit, which I find really good if I stick at the $3 mark. So only winning 3 games. Like I said, I think since I've been doing this, I'm pretty sure once each year I've gone winless for a round. Otherwise, the majority, it could be like anywhere between 2, 3, or 6 wins or something. So yeah, you will have bad weeks. That's what happens with gambling. Nothing is secure. This is not certain. This is why betting companies do so well. But just, I feel like the best advice I can give, is either just don't do it. That's one bit of advice. Or you have to be consistent. If you just kind of throw a bet here or there and you don't treat it like actually something you sort of grind and study and just watch all day every day, it's not going to be worth it. Sure, you can have a fun little bet here or there, go for it. It's exciting, but I don't know. I watch every game of footy every week. I listen to podcast, radio. It is just absolutely my wheelhouse. So anyway, that is why I really like narrowing in. Like, you can have all the knowledge you want, right? But then the next bit is just the actual betting strategy. So I like just going for roughly 3 games a week. Obviously, I want to win all of them, but it just the way things go where, well, it used to be players get subbed or players get injured or something just doesn't pan out the way you expect it to. No matter how much research, whatever you put into it, shit happens. So that's a long-winded yap about the $3 odds, which we usually do for the year. Oh, and I did mention about the post. So obviously I'm recording this video, you're watching it, but I always do a post for the games that I miss. So this video is coming out Friday. There was a game last night, which was amazing. Like, what a start to the year, right? our first bet, thank you again for all those who liked the post, because like, to me, if no one likes the post, I don't know if people are seeing it, I don't know if it's worth it. So last night we had a really crazy good engagement, which yeah, again, I'm just so thankful for, so thank you guys. But the bet itself, right? So if you want to find a bet that I've done, so like I bet on every game of footy, right? You're not going to miss, I'm not going to miss any game of footy. So if the video's not up, it's a Thursday, it's a Wednesday, or whatever the fuck, I think there was only like 1 or 2 games on Wednesday last year. But if there's a footy game going on, I'm betting on it. So go to my YouTube channel, go to the post, scroll down, and it'll be the most recent one. So last night, I really, really appreciate you boys getting around it. You can always drop this down. I'll have notes on all the players that I'm interested in, or I potentially want to flag. So like Mackay, I wasn't that interested in, but I just flagged him. I don't think he hit 12, or he was very close in the end, but had a quiet game. Anyway, so I mentioned all the players that I like, blah, blah, blah. Please feel free to read it. I don't write this just for the hell of it. I write it assuming that, like, if you see me betting on, if you come down here and you're like, fuck, Zach Williams, why is he betting on Zach Williams? And you can scroll up and be like, okay, Zach Williams played halfback in the pracky and blah, blah, blah. This is why James has included Zach Williams. So it's the same with Grundy. So I was pretty bullish on him. I know the ruck rules have changed. We can maybe talk about that later. But yeah, even in the prackies, he was looking good. And his low patch last year was, you know, up against the Fortress and the concussion game. But anyway, that's all mentioned here in the notes. So yeah, feel free to find that. You can also flick through. I screenshot the whole thing. So let's say you're not sold on my picks. By no means am I forcing you to pick my picks. That's why I include all these ones here, but the option is there if you want to change, or if you just want to keep it nice and easy, follow the bets that I do. It'll be here, and then I include them all just combined down the bottom, just to see all the nice little bits of data just there in one go. So again, thank you so much. It was all popping off. Yeah, the comments on the YouTube channel, the Discord, there's a Discord as well. I'm not as active on that as I should be, because I'm either just watching the game. I feel like I'm very here or here with footy. When footy is on, I'm glued to the screen, I'm watching it, and then as it kind of just, I don't know, between Monday and Wednesday, I can turn off for a sec, and then I get really back into it. Also, I hate chatting while watching the footy, because like if I'm chatting or typing, and then something, I need to see everything that's going on. Well, I want to see everything that's going on, so it's hard to do that while chatting. Anyway, so that is the YouTube post section. There's posts for days in here. So yeah, please just let me know. I feel like I want to do it here on the YouTube post section as well, because I don't want to have all these different medias. I don't want to be like, follow my Instagram for posts, follow my Facebook for the tips, or blah, blah, blah. I have a YouTube channel. Everything's in the YouTube channel. So yep, feel free to find that in post. Videos is self-explanatory. I'll put all my videos in there. They will most likely be Friday or Saturday, and I have it here noted as well, Thursday games and sometimes Friday. Check the post section. I just cannot stress that enough, that you have to view the post there. That's the post section out of the way. Just quickly speaking on the game itself, that was absolutely insane. I can't believe our first bet of the year. So for you guys, oh, actually, I can just go back to here, right? So for you guys who followed along with my bet, this is who we included. We included Matt Roberts, Zach Williams, McInerney, Grundy, Heaney. Matt Roberts was touchless in the first quarter. McInerney and Williams looked pretty good early. Grundy was very quiet. I mean, he started off okay, and then there was about an hour where he just wouldn't touch the footy. He needed 10 posies in the last half. And then Heaney gets the head knock. He gets the knee to the head, and he's going to come off concussed. So 3 of our 5 players are just like, there was a moment where it could have easily ended. Heaney could have been taken off. Matt Roberts could have just had a shit game. Thank God his other 3 quarters were really good. And Grundy to get his 16th posie with, what was it, a minute 40 left? Fuck me. And he was on the bench for 10 minutes, and I thought he wasn't going to come back on, because he was on the bench for 5 minutes, a goal was kicked, no rotation. Another goal was kicked, no rotation. I'm like, fuck me. And then, again, I don't know if you guys watch this as intensely as I do. When I'm watching the game, I can hear the crowd cheering just at a nothing moment. And I'm like, oh, okay, Kerno's being brought off. Grundy has to go on, because I'm looking at the rotation and I'm like, no one is coming on. Like, there's no like for like. So Big Boy comes off, Grundy comes on, because that would then push Amadi back into the forward line, who was rucking at the time. So yeah, anyway, what a cracking start, like, betting wise. The game itself was very boring in the first half, insanely exciting in the third, and then it got, yeah, it was kind of done by then. But fuck, for us on the punt, we were down to the last minute, so that was insane. That was the game last night. Brownlow picks, I've had very, I've been super unlucky, right, with Brownlow. 2 years ago, I bet heavily on Bont, and I think he came second or third, just missed, super unlucky. Last year, I bet on Nick Dacos. Oh my God. And then, actually, was it Nick Dacos? Did I bet on Nick? I think I went Bont, Dacos. Yeah. So it must have been 3 years ago I bet on Bont, because I'm pretty sure both years I bet on Dacos, he lost to Cripps in that crazy record-breaking year, and then he lost to Rao, also like record-breaking stuff, second highest Brownlow vote getter or something. Anyway, so yeah, it's been Bont, Dacos. So I've always been a bit unlucky. Everyone I fucking bet on has always gone second or third. This year, of course, the umpires get the stats. I mean, in theory, you'd think it might just help a little bit, just fix the howlers, like Wanganeen Miller getting 2 votes in that Melbourne game, where Jack Viney was the bloke who fucking arguably cost them the game, and he got 3 votes. That was wild. Anyway, stats and just having, I hope it doesn't go on the other end where just the 30, 40, or, you know, the 30 posi getters don't just get free votes for it. Like, I still want a bit of that, you know, impact that the Brownlow has, and just, I don't want it to become a full midfielders award, but it already is, so what can you do? But this year also, along with the stats, it's very, it's transition fast footy, right? So last possession out of bound in between the 50-meter arcs, the ruck rules. I noticed the rucks aren't taking as many posies. There's not as many stoppages, because you got to think, right? The first initial throw up, the rucks are going at it, jumping, hitting, and the game is going from there. Before, when they would sort of wrestle, they would try and get a hit out, or someone would try and grab it, the ball might go to ground, it creates another stoppage. But not with this really fast, leaping, jumping ruck rule. It's often just getting the ball flowing straight away, because the ruckman can hit it out like 5 meters further than what they used to. Also, with the boundary throw-ins, well, you're not getting as many boundary throw-ins as well, so there's less stoppages. What I'm getting at is, I feel like, well, I need to actually get the stats, but just from last night in the pracky matches, it feels like there's way less stoppages, right? The ball is just constantly pinging. This is a long-winded way of me saying that my pick this year, I don't know if anyone cares or bets on the Brownlow this early, Errol Goulden. So I am very bullish on Goulden. I actually bet on him in the preseason before all this happened, but when these new rules were like being dropped, and like the first week of the pracky matches before it was the official Amy practice matches, I noticed like the wingers and some of the halfbacks were just getting a lot more opportunity to get the footy, because I know it's also scratchy and not everyone's like back to their 100% game time or what have you, or efficiency, but the amount of times like the ball just sort of went out of bounds and the wingers were there getting it. Also, because the footy is so up and back, there's hardly any stoppages, and you know who that benefits? The runners. So Errol Goulden being one of the best just runners around the ground. We saw it last night when Sydney were absolutely just going from end to end and just putting absolute crazy amount of scoring pressure on. Errol Goulden was like the first one to pop off. Then Heaney, then Warner, then all of Sydney pops off. So I think Errol Goulden really started that chain, and I'm glad I got on him early, because I got him for $34. Now he's 13th. He's 4th favourite. Don't get me wrong. I still think, obviously, Dacos, Wanganeen Miller, Bont, Butters, all amazing players. But that was just my pick for this year. So I felt like Errol Goulden's going to shine. Not to mention, you got to remember with Errol Goulden, he's 23, is he not? So he had a great voting. Actually, he is yes, 23. So Errol Goulden, right, got so many votes in 2023. He got 27 votes. He got 25 votes in 2024. And then last year was the injured year. He barely polled, barely played. That's expected. So Errol Goulden has shown he's been a vote getter in the past. I reckon Sydney as a team, as a collective, are going to jump back up to the heights of what they were 2 years ago when they played in the grand final. So yeah, they played in the grand final in 2024, completely just fell off and missed. But you'll notice last year they actually had a decent push in the back end of the year. So I think with Errol Goulden back, I think he's just going to absolutely be a great candidate to get just that little bit of a spike from the new rule changes. And also he's kicking it straight into Curnow or Curnow. I was like, Logan McDonald was not great last night, but yeah. Anyway, that's just me chatting about Errol Goulden. That'll be my pick for this year. Not that I don't know, I'm not a huge fan of betting on something so far out in advance, but I couldn't help myself because the new rules and Errol Goulden he was forgotten about because last year barely polled or did anything, so his odds were crazy. So that's the recap. I've done the YouTube. I've done the bets we have to win. I think we just sort of get into it. That was the recap. Let's go into this. I might just quickly stop the video here, get the other bit ready, but chat soon. Alrighty, we're back. I thought this would just be one more good time to just timestamp in the video. The first game of round 0 has already happened. I've already done my tips and you'll see my bet here, but that can also be found on the post section. You scroll down, I'll go to my YouTube channel, go to posts, scroll down, and you will see it all here. So yeah, great time to see this, do that, post. You guys have all seen it. Thanks again so much for the likes and everything like that. It just really, like, I don't necessarily care about like, please like it, I want to see big numbers. I just want to know that you guys are seeing the post because there's no way on here that it tells me how many people view it. So yeah, really appreciate the likes just so I can understand that what I do on a Wednesday night is actually worth it. So thank you. Anyway, on to game 2. So we can hide this one. Game 2, which we have Gold Coast versus Geelong. So that's tonight. Jono was very bullish on Gold Coast early. I remember in the Pracky match, he's like, fucking bet on Gold Coast right now. And I'm like, I don't like betting on the head-to-head. That's not what I do. He's like, no, do it. Gold Coast are going to absolutely just hone in as favourites. And at the time, I think Gold Coast were $1.85. So they were ever so slight favourites. But yeah, now they've gone into $1.43. So crazy, good call by Jono. But at the time, he was also predicting Bailey Smith was going to miss, but he's playing. Actually included in our bet for this one. So if we go through our picks, we've got Bailey Smith for 25, Christian Petrarca for 20, the new club, Tanner Bruin for 18, Joel Jeffrey for 15, Ollie Dempsey for 14. So I'll kind of just work my way through this. As we saw in the first game of the year, and it's what I was anticipating going into this year, the wingers, I think, look pretty good. Less stoppages, balls going up and back. Those runners are going to be crucial up around the ground to also get back and help, but also provide that outlet. Ollie Dempsey, rising star a couple of years ago, he looked great. He only had 5 misses last year. He averages 19.5 posies. Oh, actually, I probably should also, maybe just now's a good time to explain these new columns because I didn't have these before. I mean, it's pretty simple. I've got yearly hit rates, 2026. Nothing's happened yet. I've got the hit rates for 2025. So that excludes all injury games or sub-affected games where the player plays under around 50% game time. So I know there's no subs this year, but there'll still be injuries, unfortunately. So anytime a player gets on the ground, plays 20%, I just don't even include it. I don't even worry. So anyone who's injury prone, I just know, but I hate those sub-affected games or some other bullshit affecting the overall stats. So I just want to see if they play a full game, what are they doing? And then I've got their average versus opponent. So that one's a bit hard to see, but since 2024, I don't like going really far back in stats. That's why this whole time I've been doing this, I only really care about the last 10 games. But during finals last year, I didn't mind this other column. I kind of just like seeing how they're going for the year and how they go against their opponents. I don't care how they went against their opponent in, 2000, or sorry, 2020 or whatever the heck. I just like the last 3 times they've played their opponent, which is usually the last 2 years. So anyway, so with Gold Coast, Ollie Dempsey, speaking about the wings, we all saw probably last night's game where, what was it, Elijah Hollins and Ollie Hollins both played on the wing, got 18 and 19 posies. Jai Sarong looked amazing in the first quarter, fell off a little bit, but amazing game for him regardless. I find it's really easy to play well in a team that's popping off, but it's really hard to play well when your side's struggling, and he played really well early when Sydney were just shit. So Jai Sarong on the wing got a lot of the footy. Jake Lloyd and Matty Roberts, who also started slow, but they got a lot of the footy playing on the wing. So anyway, 14 posies for Ollie Dempsey, who is likely going to be playing most of the game on the wing. He will go forward occasionally, but I feel like a lot of his goals last year were him gut running, getting to the goal square, either taking a screamer or just outrunning his opponent and just kicking one very close in front. So I like Ollie Dempsey for that. Joel Jeffrey, I like off the half-back flank. I like Johnny Noble more, if I'm being honest. I'm just seeing if I have his stats here from the Pracky. Yeah, I like John Noble more, but what Joel Jeffrey's paying for just 15 posies is pretty huge. So he's averaged 21.3 in his last 10 games. He only missed 4 times last year, and he averages 23 posies against Geelong. So, yeah, I like Joel Jeffrey. I think having a half-backer only needing to get 15 posies, I think I like that more than asking John Noble for... I really like John Noble. I like him. He had a good year last year. It's his first year at Gold Coast. I think he can step up, but I just think 15 posies is just a little bit safer, especially when his posies are so much higher. Like, he's averaging 6.3 more than what we're asking for in this case. And Joel Jeffrey had 16 posies in the Pracky match, so that was against Brisbane, where they got, it was a tough game for him. So yeah, I like Joel Jeffrey. Tanner Bruin, this one's an interesting one. So he missed pretty much he did miss all of last year with, what's going on in his personal life. But the interesting one was he is usually on baller. I think he's like 24 years old or whatever. Geelong, he's missed the whole year. Geelong need him to get back to the pace, probably get him on ball in future. I know they've picked up Warple and stuff, but what's one of the best positions where you prep someone to play midfield? It's halfback. Like, we've seen it with Nick Dacos. Jasper Fletcher could be doing it right now for Brisbane. He's playing a lot of halfback, even though their midfield stacked. But anyway, you want someone getting a lot of posies running off halfback and then maybe transitioning into the midfield. I'm not saying every halfbacker is going to the midfield. I'm just saying Tanner Bruin is a really good on-baller. He'll probably play on-ball for this as in the midfield, but in the practice match, he had 27 posies. A lot of those were kickouts. He just looked hungry. He looked like he was ready to play. He's been gone for a year. Geelong want to streamline him back into some good form. He wants to play good himself. So Tanner Bruin for 18. That's why it's kind of hard to go against. When you see this, you kind of freak out. But just remember, all these stats here in his last 10 were from 2024. And the last I've seen him was the practice match a week ago, and he looked very, very good. So Tanner Bruin for 18, I think, is actually not as hard as it sounds right here. Christian Petrarca at a new club. I think just that new club boost will naturally go there. He'll want to play well for his first game. There's no Matt Rowell, so Christian Petrarca is going to most likely play a mixture of high half forward and also come into the midfield rotation. But I think that midfield rotation will just be a little bit more with no Rowell. Yeah, Took Miller and Bailey Humphrey, Will Powell will probably be in there at the moment too. But yeah, Christian Petrarca, your big primetime name, I think 20 posies is pretty safe. Bailey Smith, this was kind of the one I was umming and ahhing about. I'm like, he didn't play the Pracky match. I know he played Origin. But Bailey Smith, 25 posies. He only missed twice last year. He went 91%. So he only missed those 2 games. I was at that Geelong Freo game where he just, walked up, started that one. And yeah, I was worried like he wasn't going to hit, like, John and I, it was mostly just me, we're hesitant about betting on him for like 20 posies to start the year. And he came in with 32 against the Dockers. So that was last year. I reckon Bailey Smith is going to come in here and play a great game to start the year. I think, Gold Coast don't tag. They haven't for ages, so they just let it go. Transition footy as well. Bailey Smith is a runner. He's not that damaging by foot, so he's the one who'll get a lot of handball receives. around the ground and just rack it up. So that's the bet for that one. We can quickly go through the rest of the others. Blitzavs, Andrew, a couple I highlighted. Oops, actually, there's a couple in the 10 posi bracket. I've highlighted Jared Witts, but you know, he's 9 out of 10. I'm going to just have a little bit of a hold on the ruckman at the moment. We saw Grundy just hit 16 posies. Pitney actually probably had arguably a better game than Grundy last night. He had 18 posies, but just with less stoppages, I just don't know how the big, bulky ruckmen are going to go, because sometimes they would get their posies from the ruck hitouts, or, you know, pushing their opponent off from out under the ball, getting a posie themselves and going. But yeah, I just need to see that first with Witts. Like, I think he's every chance, but just that new ruck rule in the back of my mind is just getting me to worry a little bit. Jack Henry, I think he's every chance, but, you know, key defender, it's always just a slight bit of risk. Did I highlight, there's someone else I wanted to talk about. I swear there were 10 posies. Oh yeah, Connor O'Sullivan. He only had 3 misses last year. Goes completely under the radar. Yes, I know he's a key defender. He can take a good mark. I feel like he's just biding his time back there while Tom Stewart's still there. Yeah, Jack Henry, you've got Zach Guthrie, and I know Lawson Humphreys and probably Tanner Bruin are going to get a lot of the footy back there, but, you know, they need to kick to someone, and Connor O'Sullivan has, yeah, been very solid. Very consistent numbers. So I love seeing someone who's just got a nice small range. If someone, I want them to hit, in this case, 10 posies, look at that. His posies go from, well, there's 118, but that's almost like an outlier. They go 12, 12, 11, 11, 12, 11, 10, 7, 12. Like, very consistent numbers there from Connor O'Sullivan. So someone I was very, very tempted to include in this bet, but I think the others just swayed me at the end. In the 12 posi bracket, Mark Blitzarves, Mac Andrew. I mean, yeah, sure. I'm not fully sold on him, because Mac Andrew could easily just sit in the back line and just spoil the footy all day. I don't think he'll get rotated forward, especially because I've got the teams over on my other screen. Yeah, Ben King, Ethan Reed, and is Moyle. No, he's an emergency. What about what's the other guy's name? Not thinking of Jai Farah, the big dude with the short curly blonde hair. Oh. Jed Walter. How the fuck did I forget that? Okay, Jed Walter. Anyway, so I don't see. Yeah, Walter's not selected. So I mean, I don't think Mac Andrew will be going forward. I'm not that bullish on him anyway. Sean Manor is someone I was bullish on, but just not quite enough in the 14 posi bracket. But I think we'll talk to him in a second. Alex Davies has always had just chances there in the midfield. Nothing exciting or crazy, but I mean, he's there, so go for it. Zach Guthrie, I feel like is going to be really leapfrogged or whatever by Lawson Humphreys this year. Humphreys looked amazing in the Origin. He also looked amazing in the practice match. He had a very quiet year last year, Lawson Humphreys, but I think he's just going to overtake Zach Guthrie. And I'm just saying that because there were times where I was like, Zach Guthrie or Lawson Humphreys, who do I go for? But I just feel like a fast, damaging, running, transition kick out of halfback is key this year. Bodie Euland, I like. He actually looked really good in the new number 6, because his brother's playing for him now. So he just looked to have a bit more confidence and was getting it around the ground. I'm not saying he's going to be super ball dominant, but providing options there when Noble and Jeffrey and Rioli are running through, so that's fine. Ollie Dempsey I spoke about. Hold on, I'm just getting the stats. Sometimes it's hard to do this now by myself without Jono, because Jono would provide a nice little bit of chat back and forth. 15 posies, Will Powell, Dan Rioli. Dan Rioli is probably my least favourite there in the backline players, even though he did alright in the practice match with 18 posies. I'd still rather Jeffrey. Same with Humphreys. Will Powell played defence all last year, and he would usually be on the small forward. He did step up a little bit towards the back end of the year, and you'll probably notice that he played both practice matches primarily on ball. So I think maybe ride that for now, see how you go. You can get him for $1.30 in the 16 posi bracket down here. But I just think maybe it's a little temporary thing while Matt Rao's gone. I forget, someone, Charlie Ballard, or someone, they were asking some Gold Coast player in the practice match, what's Will Powell doing in the midfield? And he's like, he's been begging the coach for ages. So Now he's got his time, so I don't know if it'll be a short thing or it's actually his role, but someone to watch out for is Will Powell, and you can see why his odds are a bit shorter at the moment. 16 posi brackets, Tom Atkins, Grind Myers, and Will Powell and Rioli again, but Grind Myers, I think, is a really great price. He was very solid all year. Tom Atkins as well. Like, if I could get them just for a little bit more at 16 posies, they would be like a just automatic selection if they were both over $1.20. But they really start to present their value in the 18 plus posi bracket. We have Atkins and Myers here, but it's like, is it too much? Atkins only went 69% hit rate last year. Atkins went 83, so he only missed 4 games. Oh, sorry. Myers went 83%. He had the 4 misses last year. Pretty sure 2 of those were against Brisbane, because the grand final and the one at the middle of the year at GMHBA Stadium. So 2 of those misses were against Lions. The other 2, I'm not too sure, but oh yeah, here you go. And he averages 27.5 posies against Gold Coast. Yeah, so I really like Grind Myers. I'm pretty sure he's coming off a hand or thumb or some injury there. But he's named, so you expect him he's fully fit to play. Just that's the only caution I have in the back of my head. Johnny Noble is so close to being great value for 18 plus. That is crazy. I was tempted to include him over Petrarca, but I think Petrarca, just the star player, star name at the new club, is too good to leave on the table. Warple going to a new club as well. Just something about it just doesn't fully quite excite me about Warple. I don't know, maybe when Bailey Smith is there and like the whole team's running, Warple might shine a bit more, but didn't quite sell it for me at their Pracky match. Like, he got 21 posies, but I don't know, maybe I'm just being a bit harsh on Warple. So I hope he plays well at Geelong, but I don't know, just always seemed to be a midfielder that's there, just not taking the game by like the scruff of the neck or whatever. So that's the 18 posi bracket. Let's go to the 20 and 22. So Petrarca, who I've mentioned. Took Miller, very tempted to include him too. I think him and Petrarca will be doing similar roles. Miller is a much better runner. Finally lost the 2K time trial this year to Ethan Reed, but again, someone who I think, I don't care if they're not playing full mid, because, you know, he's getting older, he's getting phased out, but he's a great runner and he's always providing an option there. I mean, he missed the 20 posi bracket once last year. I'm really surprised I haven't included Took Miller. I think it's just because I went Christian Petrarca. If I didn't go Petrarca, I would go Took Miller. Or I said that with Johnny Noble. There's a couple of good selections here I'd like, so it's just trying to, I don't know, you got to pick and choose. You can't pick them all, so each player has a good reason why to select them. Some also have their worrying signs, but 22 posi bracket, Noah Anderson, Christian Petrarca. I don't want to go, I think the extra 2 posies is just a little too much for Petrarca. I think he can get it, but I'd rather just take him for 20. I mean, he's 1 cent away from being the price I like at $1.20, so I'd rather that. Noah Anderson, I think will be fine. I think he'll be great this year, but Bailey Smith, just missing those 2 games last year. It's he didn't play Gold Coast in the last 2 years. That's interesting. Goal scorers, yeah. I mean, Ollie Henry, I mean, he looked all right. And yeah, he fell out of favour last year. Barely got selected. But Ollie Henry kicked a goal. I mean, I'd rather go Ethan Reed because I think Gold Coast are going to win this by a handful of goals. And yeah, Ethan Reed playing in the forward line there. I always kind of like the second tall behind the main full forward. So Ben King will be taking a lot of the attention. So Ethan Reed can surely have one opportunity to kick one. But then the other thing is, I do like the big full forward for sometimes multiple goals. Like we did it last year for maybe Josh Tracy, Sam Darcy, Riley Thilthorpe. So I do like those big boys because, yeah, they always have a couple of pings. Anyway, so that is that game, Gold Coast and Geelong. So let's move on to the third game, which is GWS and Hawthorn. This game is the first one on the Saturday. Couple of selections here as well. One that does stand out, kind of like the last game with Tanner Bruin, Connor McDonald. Mate, the hype is crazy for this bloke, right? So Connor McDonald, I was really not sold on at all. I thought he's just some stupid, super coach pick who's gonna get a lot of hype. He might go up in cash, whatever. And he was expected to go up last year too, as in expected to get a bit of a midfield boost. It didn't happen. And I'm like, yeah, he's just another high half forward that Hawthorn have, with Jack Ginnivan there and sort of Nick Watson, Connor McDonald is with the rest of them. But in the practice matches, he looked very good. He did butcher the ball a lot, but we're betting on him. I don't care if he butchers it, kicks down the full, doesn't hit a target all day. I don't care as long as he gets touches. So he had decent midfield minutes, which is already fantastic. And then the game itself, he had, 22 posies. So I really like that. Not like I was watching it. I remember I was watching that Pracky game and I was like, let's see if this is just going to be for like a quarter or so. But he played there most of the game and yeah, was getting a lot of little quick touches. Yeah, not setting the world on fire with his disposal efficiency, but yeah, don't care. So Connor McDonald, I think, is actually a great price there, and it's for 18 posies for someone who's going to be playing mostly on ball. Remember, there's no Will Day. Jai Newcomb is still playing, thankfully. And Josh Ward, but I think Hawthorn do need just a small, energetic... They need someone else there. They need a bit of variety in the midfield there, and Newcomb and Ward are, much of a muchness, even though Newcomb's up here. But, yeah, I think Connor McDonald in there will really help them. So, bullish on him. Nash, another very similar-bodied midfielder. Bit bigger, but I think he's fantastic. He missed 3 games last year for 16 posies, averages 20 against GWS. I think this one's so tough, right? I barely included one GWS player. I think Hawthorn will just be ready for this game. GWS look to be in all sorts with their injuries and what have you. So yeah, that's why we've gone. Also, Jai Newcomb, I think for 20. Had a great final series. Also had a really good practice match. I think Jai Newcomb is ready just to go one more step above. Like, this is just how I see him. I always see Jai Newcomb as just that solid B+ player. Like, he's not a elite primo mid, but he's just like a really great B+. But this year, I reckon I could see him just going into that next bracket, like A- or something, especially with no Will Day for a bit. So yeah, I really like Jai Newcomb to start the year off. Lockie Whitfield, a nice consistent player, especially just in the back line where I see the ball going to be for this game. He averages 34 disposals against Hawthorn. He only missed twice last year for 25 posies. Averages 4.5 more than what we need. Going to take kickouts. Him and Lockie Ash down there, but Lockie Whitfield, I think, is just a bit safer. And then for a goal scorer, Nick Watson, 10 out of 10 in his last games. He had 4 games where he didn't kick a goal, but I'm almost positive off the top of my head, 2 of those misses, he kicked points. So he had a scoring opportunity in almost every game last year, which is great. Looked good in the preseason too. That screamer he took in, I can't remember which game it was, but yeah, he looks good. I like the Wizard. So that's the bet for this one. As we go down, you'll see there's no one in like the 10+ posi category, which, yeah, no one I could really make a case for. This one was kind of hard because there were hardly any GWS players presenting value. There's a couple that I'm bullish on just for anticipation, but I don't know. There was no consistent players popping up. No one really in the 12 posi bracket either. Finn McGuinness from Hawks, there's no sub that's going to fuck him up, so sure. But again, not that bullish on. 14 posi bracket, Ryan Angwin, yeah. I mean, I think he did okay in the practice match, but again, someone I'm not that keen on betting on just right now unless I see more of it. I don't have the GWS game, the Pracky match on my screen, but that's fine. O'Halloran will no doubt get thrown into the midfield with him and Cogs, a couple of old boys to help out, but I'd be more keen to like bet on Rouston, which I think is the next one in the next category. Yeah, Harry Rouston, but like, he's only done it 3 times in his, I don't know, the last 10 games, and yes, he did play a really good practice match. I really should open the practice match here on my screen, so I'm not just going from memory. But he had 19 posies in the practice match, and I think he's ready to step up. He was one that was really hampered by the sub role last year because I can see him ready to burst, but he's just always being held back. These 2 12 posi games were actual full games though, so that can happen. Especially with someone just trying to break into the mid. I can see him just going a bit quiet, but I don't know. If he was paying a bit more, I'd be bullish on, but I don't think the risk reward is 16 plus. I could see it. I'm not against Harry Rouston. I think he'll do pretty well. But yeah, Battle and Ginnivan, I would rather bet on first. 9 out of 10 for both of them in their last couple of games, averaging over their posi bracket. And they're both 81 and 76% hit rate for last year. So I'd much rather go sort of those safer picks, especially in my bet at the moment, where I've gone what I think are pretty safe picks and then one bullish one who I think is just going to... And I only do these bullish picks really to start the year, right? Because there's role changes. I'm not doing this in the middle of the year where like, oh, there's a guy who's 3 or 10 and I think he's going to absolutely fucking pop. This is a new role for Connor McDonald. So this is not... this is different at the start of the year. And it really helps when you do pay attention to the preseason stuff and all what's going on. Dylan Moore, I like. He was a bit quiet in the practice match for my liking. I do expect him to go more back to the form of 2 years ago. I think he had a bit of a down year last year. But there's another high half forward that Hawthorn just have. So I thought he was going to be the one to sort of go back in the midfield a bit more, but it seems to be Connor McDonald. Sicily, 10 out of 10. He missed 2 games last year in the 16 posi bracket. I just think if Hawthorn, this is how I see the game going, Hawthorn are going to win this comfortably. And Sicily isn't that guy just demanding the footy anymore and lacing targets. How I usually see him at the moment now is more of the general, the pointer. So if something's happening, or if he's in defense and Battle has the ball or Carl Amon has the footy, he's more pointing where he wants the footy to go. He's like, yep, there's a man on over there. There's a man on over there. Do that. He's not presenting himself. I could be wrong. Last year, he did definitely fall a bit out of form. He even took that month off, which was the hip issue or what have you, but also coincided with him just playing like shit. I like Sicily. I think he's damaging when he wants to be, but yeah, I don't know. The form there is great, but there's just something telling me that I'm just not that bullish on for Sicily at the moment. And I'm just looking at the practice match. I should know this. He got 20 posies in the practice match. I do like it. But Bulldogs also they towed Hawks up. So footy was down there a lot, whereas I don't see it being down there that much for this game. Anyway, I don't mind if you bet on Sicily. There's just something quite not there, just from how he played all last year. 18 plus, Josh Ward. Yeah, if he was a little bit more, but I think he just sort of flies under the radar a bit there, especially in Newcomb's shadow. So yeah, I like, but I'd much rather go Newcomb. Connor McDonald, Toby Green is going to be thrown to the midfield a lot. I was tossing up between either of these guys. I think I just more went the youth. And I've seen Connor McDonald play in the midfield, and Sam Mitchell was also teasing him on like SEN, so letting the viewers know or the listeners know that he's going to play mid. Toby Green we saw play mid and played really well. He's going to have to be thrown in there with GWS's depleted midfield, but yeah, I don't know. Anyway, it's very close. I'm not saying don't bet on these guys. I've highlighted in blue for a reason because I like him. I just went Connor McDonald. Connor Nash, James Sicily. Yep, 20 posi, Newcomb, I've mentioned. Impey and Amon. So Amon takes a lot of the kick-outs. Impey used to play a lot more half-back, but I think there's just a lot of numbers down there. So he can play half-back, but he'll also be on the wing or starting half-forward as well, having a couple of goal-scoring opportunities. So Impey had a very bullish run from like the buys to the back end of the year. Just kind of fell off in the last couple of games, but I mean, before that bullish run, I've always seen Impey as that 14, 15, 16 posi player. So for him to be in the 20 plus, I just think it's not great value. Because I see that more of like a little purple patch more than how he usually plays. So Carl Amon I see in the 20 posi bracket. I think that suits him more. Plenty of opportunities to take kickouts. He gets a lot of the footy down there. He missed 6 times last year. So, look, also you can see, Jarman Impey's hit rate was around 50%. So, yeah, he did have a very bullish second half to the year. The thing is, I would see Carl Amon still staying there. I could see Impey just falling back to the pack. But yeah, I like Amon more out of the two. I was very bullish on Clayton Oliver, but man, I don't know. I feel like 22 is not enough value, and then 25, it's too much. Like, there's no good in between. Like 23 posi bracket for Clayton Oliver, or if he was $1.20, I mean, I think Clayton Oliver has just gotten so lucky. I mean, he got out of Melbourne, even though he wanted to get out from there like a year or two ago. But he's gone to GWS with no Tom Green this year, like for like player. So yeah, Clayton Oliver's going to really have to step up and just show that he's that player from a couple of years ago and why he's getting paid so much fucking money. But yeah, we'll see. I would rather... Newcomb has shown it though, so that's why I like Jai Newcomb. But I mean, I like him for 20, not 22. But if we go to the 25s, I would almost rather take the punt on Finn Callahan. What the fuck's going on with my Excel? Oh, there we go. Finn Callahan. I'd much rather take a punt on him. I can really see Finn Callahan pushing for the Brownlow this year too. I think when he runs, he reminds me of Chris Judd. He is a great young kid. I see so much potential in him. But yeah, Whitfield, just having that 91% hit rate from last year, I see it a bit more consistent. So I'd rather go Whitfield. 30 posi bracket, I'm not that bullish on. But yeah, I just kind of want to see GWS in a full proper game first before I bet on Oliver. Finn Callahan, like I said, I've seen it before, but Oliver at the new club, he's been a bum the last 2 years. So I want to see Oliver actually still has it in him. Goal scorers, yeah, Nick Watson, who I like, only had the 4 misses last year. 2 of them he kicked points. Yeah, I think Hawthorn are probably going to win this one by a couple of goals. Toby Green I've highlighted, but you know, I don't know how many opportunities he's going to have when he's in the midfield. Jack Gunston, you rarely see players green. Like, to be all green stats, I had to highlight. But is Jack Gunston going to have the All-Australian year last year? Again, that was crazy because, you know, obviously with the player's age, they start off rookies, they really peak, and then they fade off. Jack Gunston did sort of one of these ones and went back up, so very odd. Anyway, he did kick, I think it was 3 goals in the practice match on Buku Kamas, so he can still do it. So, I mean, 2 goals for $1.40 seems pretty good value, but I mean, he's versing the Giants in Sydney. I don't know, I think he can do it. 2 goals from Jack Gunston. I don't know, something betting about on an old boy to kick 2 goals. He only missed 3 times last year. What the fuck? That is an insane year. Oh, fuck, hell, go for it. Bet on Jack Gunston. That is crazy. I don't know. The only worrying factor I have is the age, but I mean, he's still popping off at the moment. Last week he looked good. So anyway, that is the Hawthorn GWS game. Now on to the game that I'm going to be at that I can't wait for. Brisbane versus Doggies. I'm going to be at my seat as soon as the gates open. I fucking cannot wait. I'm so keen. You know what's super annoying though with opening round? I get to go see Brisbane play early March, which is fantastic. Then do you know when the next time I get to go see Brisbane play? It's fucking April. Like, how do they get the first game of the year? Then they play away, then there's a bye, then they're away, and then by the time they're back home, a whole month has gone past until I get to see them again. What? Oh, it's wild. Oh, it's wild. It's so shit. But anyway, this is who we've included. We've gone Levi Ashcroft for 14, Bailey Williams 14, Jared Berry 16, Kennedy and Fletcher both for 18. Look at these 10 out of 10 form lines for all of them, and then Matthew Kennedy with the 8 out of 10, but he is very consistent. What Matthew Kennedy does as well, he only missed twice last year for 18 plus. He had 1 absolute outlier stinker. That 6 posi game was insane. And then a 15, which is kind of close miss. But someone who gets a lot of the footy there behind Bont, Richards, Libber. But Libber is being sort of phased out of the back line a bit. He was playing half back in the pracky. You know, I don't know if he's going to be the crazy damaging half back, or he also plays on ball too. But Matt Kennedy was at a lot of stoppages and CVAs, so which I like. Matt Kennedy had a great year last year, and I think he can keep doing that. Jasper Fletcher, only like slight concern was he was named on the wing, but they did that many times last year where they would put the team names up there. Jasper Fletcher was on a wing, but he would never play the wing. The reason I say that is because 2 years ago he played wing and he was like getting around 12, 14 posies. Last year he played half back and he was huge. Look at that, 89% of hitting 18 plus posies, which I think is fantastic. And also Bruce Reville, Jared Berry will be the main ones on the wing. Zach Bailey will have spots there, Levi Ashcroft. So I don't think they're going to be putting Fletcher there. I think that's just a little thing that they do with the team sheets. And I think Kitty Coleman's still just warming up a little bit. Jasper Fletcher and Wilmot, they're the ones that they'll want the footy in their hands of, you know, as Zorko. He's 37 this year. That's crazy. I hope Zorko can do it, stay along, and if there's a chance for a three-peat, that'd be insane. But anyway, the youth, the potential of Jasper Fletcher is huge. Jared Berry and Levi Ashcroft, who I think will both primarily be on the wing, along with Bruce Reville. What do you mean? Like, so Jared Berry, 100% last year for 16 posies. What are we doing? And that's excluding 2 injured games. I think one he got concussed, one he did his shoulder. The shoulder was the Collingwood game. The concussion was North Melbourne at Bloodstone, I think, in Tassie. So, yeah, if you take out those 2 injury games, he's 100%. Levi Ashcroft missed 2 games, but that is completely fine for someone in their first year. Averages 20 posies against the Dogs, but I think, to be fair, he would have only played them once. So yeah, I like both those boys on the wing with the transition footy, and Bailey Williams, who does play wing, does play on the back line there. So they've also got in Connor Buderick, Bailey Dale's back, you know, Lockie Bramwell's back there. So Bailey Williams, I can see just being used as an option there. But again, I'm betting on him for 14 posies. I'm not expecting Williams to set the world on fire and take all the kickouts or what have you. 14 posies and be used in a chain here or there, and also help out on the wing. He also got 17 posies in the Pracky match, and yeah, playing mostly a wing role. So I like Bailey Williams for that. 10 posies, no one that really stands out. Let's go straight down to the 12. No one that stands out here either. Rayner, a little tempting, but he's, I mean, 1 cent away from Price. His last 2 games are a bit quiet though. Grand final and the one before that, if I can, from memory, it was the Collingwood game and then the grand final. He's typically done this recently where he'll be very quiet in the first half and then pop off in the second. So it could have been something similar to that. Anyway, let's go to the 14. Posie, Bramwell, Ashcroft, Williams, who have actually, I was very tempted to include Lockie Bramwell. Only reason I didn't is because Dale's listed back in the team, but I still think Lockie Bramwell, who had 1 miss last year for 14, his last 2 games of the year were both 14 posies, so a bit low. So he's just hitting there, but 10 out of 10, he's averaging 5.5 more than what we need. I don't mind that pick at all. Tim English, who I'm really bullish on, I actually picked him up in my draft. I've got him in my classic for Supercoach. I think he's going to be the best ruckman this year, and if anyone watched that Hawthorn Doggies practice match, you'll probably see why. He seems to absolutely flourish with the new ruck rules. He can be a really good leaping ruckman. He's got the tank. He just worked Meek ragged around the ground. Meek couldn't keep up. English was looking strong. There was a point where Meek wasn't working on him, so they put Chol in the ruck. That wasn't working. They put Weddle in the ruck. Doesn't matter. English was just tearing them apart. So I think English is going to pop off with the new ruck rules. But Fortress has been... Jono and I would call him and Witts like the ruck killers last year. Anytime the big boys seem to verse a Fort or a Jared Witts, the ruckman... They really seem to keep their disposals low. So bear that in mind for Tim English. I think he's going to play really well this year. I just don't know if it's going to be in this first game, especially if there's a little bit of a chance of it raining. So that little worry. I should actually put the weather up here. Anyway, there's a chance that it's going to be raining on Saturday, tomorrow, for the game. So a bit hesitant. Oscar Baker, again, usually one of the sub-best candidates. He only missed once last year if you exclude all his sub games. So for 14 posies, and he played wing role. He plays halfback. I don't really care where he'll be playing there. He seems to always find the footy. So I really like Oscar Baker. What is he for 12? Just not quite enough. So he goes from 12 posies to 14, and there's like a 30-cent difference. Anyway, so I like Oscar Baker, 15 and 16 posies. Jared Berry, consistent as they come. Absolutely love him. So I've already spoken about him, but I got him for 16. Bramwell, Levi. Oh, and I'll tell you what, sometimes it's really hard to just narrow down the selections who I'm going to pick. But you know what actually really helps? Sometimes a player might only present value in one category, like Tim English here or Oscar Baker. When these boys start presenting value in multiple categories, same with Berry. So Berry was in one category here and one category there. Granted, it's only like one posi difference, but like I could bet on them for both those posies. And it's the same maybe with Matthew Kennedy here. Matthew Kennedy, 18 posi bracket, I like. And then he also presents value in the 20 posi bracket where he's only missed 3 times for the year. So those players who, you know, have their reasons you can bet on them for a couple of brackets, I like. 15 posi bracket, I mean, Ken Coleman, I want to see how he plays first. He's played like 2 games in 2 years. Just give him time. Yes, he played forward in the first pracky, but then he went back to the back line for the second. Didn't set the world on fire. I don't expect him to. Kitty Coleman was supposed to like sort of be the guy to take over from like Daniel Rich, and then obviously that injury happened and Dane Zorko filled the role. And then, but you've got Wilmot, you've got Fletcher, you've got boys back there who are just really great electric ball users too. So just give Kitty Coleman time, but I do expect big things from him later. Joel Frazier, the hype train from this year is, you know, everyone's on him. But I watched half of the Doggies. I watched all the games, but half of the Doggies games last year, he sat on a wing and was doing laps. So it's just hard for him to get a spot as well when they're trying to get Sanders in the midfield too. Like, yes, Joel Frazier looked okay in the practice match, 20 posies, but a lot of that was, you know, in the last quarter. So, I mean, the risk, Joel Frazier has great potential, right? You know, they call him the young Bont there at the kennel, but it's just, is he going to get that role? And Beveridge is just notorious for fucking throwing players around. And I feel way more confident where Bailey Williams is playing. I feel more confident with Matthew Kennedy's role than Frazier. We could bet on Frazier and he could set the world on fire and have 25 posies and a goal and be that real elite midfield that he could be, or he sits on the wing and just runs up and down doing sprints all day. So that's the risk with Joel Frazier. These boys I've spoken about. I mean, Connor Budrick's kind of a chance too, but I want to see him play in a proper full game now, going from Gold Coast to the Dogs with Dale, with Bramall, all that. So we'll just wait. Jared Berry, value here. Not much value elsewhere in the 16 plus posi category. 18 plus. I think Zach Bailey's going to have a great year this year. I hope he stays at Brisbane, but I think he's just not paying a decent amount for 18 plus because Zach Bailey had a 65% hit rate last year. If I'm betting on someone, I want a bit better hit rate. So Kennedy, Berry, Fletcher, all guys I've bet on. They're around 90% for all of them last year. So Zach Bailey can have really good highs, but also really bad lows. I think I'm bullish on him this year. I think he'll try and iron that out a bit more because middle of last year, he started playing on ball a bit more. So I think that trend will continue. But yeah, just want to see it first and not for $1.20. Everyone else there I've already mentioned. The 20 plus and 23. Bailey Dale, it's his first game back, but man, he only missed 1 game last year. I really like Bailey Dale. If he goes up an extra 3 cents, then yeah, jump aboard. But for the meantime, yeah, I'd just rather go other options. Josh Dunkley, if he was a bit more, but his posies really teetered off in the finals, which is fine because he's a defensive mid, so he's doing his job. He does what he needs to do, but if we're here to bet on him, I'm not betting on him for how well he holds his man. I'm betting on him for how many times he gets the footy. So, Josh Dunkley, I think he can go back to 20 posies, especially earlier in the year, while he might not be doing crazy tag rolls. But yeah, just keep that in mind. 22. Oh, Darcy Wilmot is way too. He's $1.13 for 18 posies. Dude, I don't know if you remember, we bet on him for the granny. He fell short 1 posie. And like, look, he is 63% hit rate for 18 plus. Like, he started the year very short odds. So I saw him down here for $1.32 when he's got a 50% hit rate. And Coleman's back there too now. Fletcher's got great potential. Zorko will be playing, so yeah, not great odds. Bont, Richards, and Liver, I like them all there. I think Bont is just, I reckon, going to have a year out of the box. I said I'm bullish on Goulden for the Brownlow, but I can see Bont playing extremely well this year. I mean, he does every year, like, obviously, but this is like, he's 30. He knows that he's probably got one last little window to try and win a Brownlow, whether that's this year or next year, but I just see him locking in just even a little bit more than what he usually does. So Bont is amazing. Richards, I like. 83% last year. He hit his posi bracket late in the practice match. He got 24, but I really like Richards. He's probably when I was doing my draft, I had him maybe my 8th best midfielder. So I like Ed Richards. But yeah, his posi bracket is just a little bit low. And when I say that, I mean he's only getting 2.7 more than what we need him to get, where the Bond's getting like 8 more posies, which is crazy. Libba, just be careful where he's playing. He's not the shovel anymore of just getting the hardball contested footy out. I mean, he might still do that, but I think they've got more of a spot from him out in the back line. 25 plus, if you want to take your pick on one of them, go for it. I definitely wouldn't do 2 of them. I certainly in hell wouldn't do all 3. I mean, I wouldn't even do 1 at this point, because look at their hit rate for all of them. It's all 70%. Sure, I think one or 2 of them could hit. It's just hard to try and justify who that's going to be. McCluggage with the All-Australian year, Will Ashcroft coming off another Norm Smith, Lachie Neale has gone through all that stuff in the off-season, and then he's really locked in for footy at the moment, so he played good in the Pracky match. And yeah, Dane Zorko, I can't justify for that price. Or sorry, that bracket. And I can't do him for $1.16 for 20. Dane Zorko, we were getting in the 20 plus posi bracket last year. How the fuck is he $1.06? Anyway, I'm jumping around. Let's go. No one interests me in the 30 plus. Let's go to the goal scorers. Kai Lohmann. He had a bit of a quiet year last year. Had some injury issues, subbed issues. I reckon he'll have a much more consistent year. 73%, but he had a great back half to the year. So 9 out of 10 in his last games. Riley West only missed twice for the year. What the fuck? Riley West is great to bet on behind, Darcy and Norton. So it's just whether he'll get that goal up at the Gabba. I think there's every chance. I've also highlighted Darcy and Norton for a couple of goals. Excuse me. But I remember when I went to the game last year, Sam Darcy was thrown up into the middle of the ground, so he barely had any scoring opportunities. I wonder if any bullshit like that'll happen, or as well, just to consider the slight chance of rain. But I think there's a decent chance. All right, moving on to the last game of the round. So we have game 5, which is St Kilda Collingwood. Boy, there's no options here. There's hardly any to choose from. The bookies have just absolutely stitched us up here, so I've really had to try and come up with something. First of all, not all the players are listed because of the emergencies. So I don't think they list emergencies on here, or maybe they do. But if there is any updated... Oh, here's a good time to mention as well. I was thinking of maybe doing like a Patreon where I let people have access to the spreadsheet that I do. So when I do updates on like a Sunday, they can see the changes I'm doing, because I'm not going to do another video. I do 1 video a week, but if people wanted to have access to the spreadsheet I do, because I change the spreadsheet on weekends if the value changes, or if there's a late change and in and out or whatever the heck, or I want to place another bet, I'll come back to my spreadsheet and have a look at it. So maybe that could be an option where, set something like that up. But anyway, that's a thought for now, because look at this. It's so hard to make a bet right now with these odds. Bo McCreary, yeah, sure, just not that consistent. Probably gets thrown in the midfield, but Collingwood are probably not going to be that great this year. Anyway, I'm just not bullish on it. Bo McCreary has his spurts. He could have a decent game, or yeah, just goes quiet. 14. Oh, I'll tell you who I bet on, sorry. Lipinski for 14, Maynard for 14, the Pooh for 18, Windhager for 22, and Nick Dacos for 25. So Lipinski showed great signs in the practice match. I know it was against North, and Dacos and De Goey weren't there, but Lipinski has been very solid, and I've bet on him in the past many times for 15 plus posies, but we're doing him for 14, and he only missed 2 games last year. Averages 24 posies against St Kilda, so I like that for Lipinski. Maynard is presenting to be one of the only safer options in here. So he had 2 misses last year. He's 10 out of 10. I mean, that selection speaks for himself. I really like Maynard. Philippou. So obviously hadn't played many games last year. It might have been like 5 or something. Some of them were whole games where he didn't touch it. Some of them were injury games, whatever. The point is he is there playing primarily all on ball. He looked great in the practice match with 25 posies. So yeah, he was at the CBAs for a lot of them there. I'm quite bullish on Mateus Philippou. So yeah, great showing at the practice matches. yeah, he seems to be emerging as one of those decent midfielders there at St Kilda. But, they do have Flanders. They have Nazai Wang and E. Miller are being thrown in there now. They have an aging Jack McRae. But I think, yeah, they've really got to get Philippou rolling. So this has got to be his good year, which is why I've gone for him for 18. Which, again, just goes against this. But, yeah, you got to remember, half these games are not from this year. Actually, when was that 20-game patch? Mateus Philippou. I need to spell it. Philippou. 21. Fuck. So he only played the 7 games last year. He only had 1 game with 23 disposals, and it was this one. Otherwise, he had a 12 and a 14. So these were the back end of 2024. But yeah, so had very low scoring posies here in full games, mind you. But yeah, has shown great signs in the preseason, the pracky matches and stuff. And yeah, it's who St Kilda want on ball there. Marcus Windhager. Man, I really love this guy since the second half of last year. Someone, I guess, a lot of us don't like as a tagger, because if the tagger, they're doing their job for the team, it's what the coach wants, but they're stopping like your best player. But man, when he stopped tagging last year and just went on ball or just sort of roaming around half back, rotating in the mid, he looked fantastic. And he showed that again in the practice match. I think he had like 40 posies. Yeah, he had 41 in the practice match. Insane. So I'm kind of betting on 2 midfielders here because I think Wanganeen Miller is going to get a bit of attention. Flanders, I just really want to... I like Flanders, don't get me wrong. But yeah, Windhager just being like, the OG St Kilda boy. He's there. Same with Philippou. I think they're really going to get it into these guys first. And then Nick Dacos, the little master, he's amazing. So out of his last 10 games, he's only missed by 1 posie. I think he's fantastic. He could get like 40 posies if he just really tried. So I think this is also a decent year for Nick Dacos to try and win the Brownlow. A couple of runner-up years. So yeah, no, just like Dacos, speaks for himself. 14 plus, Lipinski, Maynard I spoke about. Darcy Cameron I've highlighted, but I mean, I just feel like I'm a little off Ruckman this year, especially with the less stoppages. His last couple of games, 14, 15, and 15 posies. I might want to see a week or 2 of how the Ruckman go in all these new rules before betting on him again. I thought Grundy was going to be like home and hosed last night, but he struggled to even get 16 posies, so let's just wait. Max Hall has good potential. He can come into the midfield every now and then, but otherwise come off the half-forward line. De Goey, injury concern, but man, he can pop when he wants to. He's back 3 games from last year, were great. Didn't play the pracky, but apparently he's good to go. I would love to see it. But yeah, I just feel like I would much rather take the punt on Windhager or someone like that now, because I see St Kilda winning this game. And yeah, I could see Philippou or Windhager just popping off. Ed Allen, yeah, I mean, he's a chance, but I just don't care or sort of watch that much about how he plays at the moment. Sorry, that sounded harsh, but I just don't watch enough. Or I watch all the games. I don't specifically watch him enough to fully know his role. Bradley Hill, yeah, old. He could have reduced game time. He didn't play in the practice match, even though he was named. So I could see him getting really low time on ground. Great runner, though, but yeah. Does he need to do his continued role there when they're trying to get, like, Darcy Wilson involved a bit more too, Hugo Garcia? Yeah, just, I don't know, is Bradley Hill going to still do his thing? We'll see. 18 plus, Dan Houston. I mean, look at the players I'm having to fucking highlight here. It's bloody atrocious. Look at this 10-game form and then this 10-game form. Dan Houston, yeah, I mean, he showed slight signs of life in the practice match, but yeah, he had the year from hell last year. Collingwood really got sold a lemon with that one. But I can hear Jono screaming in my head. Jono thinks Dan Houston can bounce back to, how he played at Port Adelaide. I don't see it as much. I think they're really set on having Nick Dacos take that role. But also, there's no Jeremy Howe. There was someone else. Is Darcy Moore playing? Moore. Okay, there's no Darcy Moore. So, yeah, Dan Houston I could see getting a bit of the footy around the back line there, but I'm just not that confident on. Maybe if you guys are more confident, go for it. But, yeah, I'd much rather see Philippou run around in the midfield there against what I think is kind of a depleted Collingwood midfield. Like, what? Apart from Nick Dacos, you've got an injured De Goey, you've got old boys in Crisp and Sidebottom and Pendlebury. Yeah, I don't know. I much rather... I see St Kilda's midfield popping off. 20 posies, Jack McRae, old boy, but I mean, he was about to get phased out last year, but still doing what he needs to do. So I want to see how he goes this year, especially with all the new talent. But yeah, I could see him being first on the chopping block there for St Kilda. Pendlebury, old boy, is he going to play a bit of halfback? Is he going to help on ball? Whatever. I think he's very reliable. But yeah, just another year older for Scott Pendlebury. Another year I'm sort of less bullish. So I was really bullish on him last year. I mean, 95%. I'm pretty sure the one miss he had was the GWS game for round 0. Yeah, I mean, look, I've got... Anyway, if you're more bullish on Pendlebury than I am, but I think I'd just rather go the young talent in this one. Sam Flanders, I think, will pop this year. Same with Windhager. But Windhager's just got slightly better value, and he looked better in the practice match. Windhager just looks hungry. He's like 22 years old. And it just... Probably noticed it like a couple of rounds too late. But yeah, when he's not tagging, he's a beast. So I really liked Windhager. In the 25 posse bracket, Wanganeen Miller, who had a crazy year last year, but I think will just get a bit more attention. I'm not saying that Collingwood will necessarily give him that attention. I think Windhager will still... Sorry, I'm just chatting about Windhager all the time now. I still think Wanganeen Miller will still absolutely just tear it up. But I think Dacos just has less... to share with in there, so I can see him going really crazy. Windhager, oh my god, I keep saying Windhager. Wanganeen Miller has Windhager, Flanders, McRae, Philippou, all there to share it with. So if I'm going Philippou and Windhager, I can't do Windhager as... Oh my god, that's 3 times. I can't do Wanganeen Miller as well. So yeah, I've already gone those 2 St Kilda mids. Can't really do any more. Jack Sinclair also, you know, running off halfback there. He might have a bit more freedom. Well, he did with Wanganeen Miller playing in the midfield. Said it right the first time there. Yeah, I think Jack Sinclair, great pick, but I would much rather him for 22 or 20 posies, but just the value's not there. So that might change coming closer to game day, and if it does, I'll maybe do a post. But yeah, there's hardly any options for this one. 30 plus, no chance. Goal scorers, yuck. Cooper Sharman, I mean, yeah, I see St Kilda winning, so I see him being a forward that kicks a goal. Wanganeen Miller is $1.26. God. So, anyway, yeah, apparently Ken Hinkley rates him as like the best mid forward. So, yeah, saw it a little bit last year, but I don't know. I know the talk is he's going to play a lot more forward. He kicked, what was it, 4 goals in the pracky, but I don't know. I see him as just an absolute, just destroying in the mid, just outrunning his opponent. So I'm not that bullish on it. But again, I'll wait till I see a couple more games this year. But yeah, this is the selections we have from this game. If you want to go through and pause it on any of the other selections, there is not much to pick from. So I feel like, I mean, I've done pretty well with the selections given, because fuck, there is some trash in this game. I'm not saying the game will be trash. I'm actually really excited to see St Kilda, the new money bags of the AFL. So yeah, keen to see how they go, but fuck, it was a rough bet. So I might do an updated post for this game, but if I do, you will see it in the YouTube comments section. I could even do a post on the post section, but either way, I'll make sure I post it enough times. I'll mention in the Discord just so everyone's aware. But yeah, that's the bets for this week. So hopefully we pop off. I'm going to upload this video, and yeah, I'm just so keen. Footy's back. Let me know if there's any, I don't know, anything else that I hope you boys have started the year off pretty good, or if there's anything, any ideas for the channel, or anything you're like, oh, maybe could you include this stat, or maybe, yeah, I don't know. I'm just so, I've slowly just, this is how I usually bet before I did these videos. I didn't even make the Excel before the videos. I just kind of did that as a visual media to show you guys. And then just slowly improving it each year, maybe including an extra column here or there. But yeah, slowly building that up, but it's great to be back. Thanks again, boys. I've been yapping for hours. I'm going to call it here, but until next time. Oh, Jono will be in the next video. He was just working today, so we'll probably record that Saturday morning, and I'll do the post for Thursday and Friday. But until then, I'll chat to you next week. Peace.